Hi, I'm Regine, a natural hair expert with John Paul Mitchell Systems. On this episode of Specialist Spotlight, we are going to break down every step of a seamless sewing. You'll get all the tips, all the tricks, and even my formula. So sit back, take notes. You definitely want to use this information in your next salon visit. Every service starts with an incredible wash house experience. I have two goals: to clarify and cleanse the hair and to add moisture into the hair. The first shampoo I'll be using is the Shampoo 2. I want to make sure that I use a generous amount of my Shampoo 2 to clarify any previous product that has built up on the hair. I'm pulling the product through to the ends of the hair, and I'm using the pulling method so that I don't tangle the hair in the shampoo process. I want to make sure to open the hair and have product at the base as well as mid-shaft to ends. Now that the product is completely on the hair, I am going to take my hands and put it straight to the base and start my cleansing process. Working from the front hairline into the temple area, and then working my way into the crown area. So placing my hands directly to the base of the scalp, I will start cleansing. To cleanse the rest of the hair, I'm going to pull the Shampoo 2 through the ends of the hair, just like so. Now I want to make sure to lift the head and work in the nape area. When rinsing the shampoo out, I want to make sure that I'm completely thorough so that I can proceed with my second shampoo, which would be the moisturizing shampoo. You'll feel a nice glide on the hair, which gives you the indication that the hair has been completely clarified. Now I'm using my Awapui shampoo. Just about a quarter size is enough for me to go in and balance the moisture in the hair. In preparation for her sewing extensions, her braids will be in her hair for about 6 to 8 weeks, so I want to make sure that the hair is prepared and balanced with a sufficient amount of moisture. Last, I'm going to be using the detangler. The detangler gives me a rich amount of moisture, and I'm using a generous amount to layer it throughout the entire hair, just like so, and making sure that I give extra love to the ends of the hair. Once the product has been thoroughly applied to the hair, I'm going to give her a nice massage so that I can encourage the blood flow, which in turn encourages hair growth. Using my wide tooth comb, I can start my detangling process with my conditioner in here, working my ends to the mid shaft and then towards the base. And now I'm rinsing the detangler out of the hair, and I want to make sure that I rinse until the water runs clear, indicating that the product has completely left the hair. To prep the hair for the blow dryer, I'm going to start with the Clean Beauty Heat Styling Spray. This spray gives me an incredible amount of heat protection as well as shine. Next, using my Lavender Mint Leave-In Conditioner, I want to put moisture back into the hair, just like so. And last, I'm going to use my Clean Beauty Everyday Leave-In Treatment. And I'm going to work this from the ends and working my way to the base of the head. And using my wide tooth comb, I'm going to come in and detangle the hair and make sure that the product is thoroughly going through from ends to base. Prior to my blow dry, I'm going to take the hair into subsections. You can split the hair into 4 subsections, 6, 8, whatever makes you comfortable, and just doing a light twist and clipping the hair away. Here's a pro tip. When using a blow dryer with a comb attachment, make sure you can pass through the hair with a wide tooth comb from base to end, and that will ensure that you will do the same with your blow dry. To customize the extensions, I'm using the color XG. My formula is 1 ounce of 7N mixed with a ½ ounce of 6G. The target end result that I'm looking for is a nice soft dark brown. And using my Bond RX, I really love this product because it gives me the extra insurance that I need. So I have the pre-measurement and I'm adding it into my formula. And I'm using 30 volume with a 1-to-1 ratio. A fun fact is using step 1, you don't have to alter your formula. And when you get into the wash house and rinse the color out, that's when you will add the step 2. Bond RX is heat activated, so the blow dry is an important part of the process. As with any color application, saturation is key. With our extensions, we want to make sure it's saturated in the front as well as the back. Using my hands in the up and down motion, I'm going to create some diffusion so that there's no harsh line of demarcation. So Amber wants a leave out. So what we're going to do is section off the parts that we're going to leave out. I'm doing a U-shape leave out on the top of her head because she wants a center part. And I'm going to also leave out the perimeter of her hair so she can pull her hair back into a ponytail. So I braided down the leave out segments, which are the upper crown area into the hairline, going all the way towards the back. Now I'm going to create my foundation. I'm going to be doing a U-horse braid pattern, connecting the braids from right to left, keeping the braids close and tight to the scalp for a solid foundation. How I do that is by starting out with a diagonal back section from the top and working clean partings till I get to the center back. And any hair that I'm not braiding, I'm going to make sure that I clip away. Using a bit of my Maverick Original Pomade, I'm going to start braiding the hair. I love using the Original Pomade to give myself a little bit of grip on the hair and keep the braids nice and neat. So starting that braid, something that I do want to advise is that as you're braiding the hair, keep in mind that you're going to sew in extensions. So the braids in the foundational aspect do not need to be tight, they simply need to be secured. I'm going to repeat the same pattern on the right side. So taking a diagonal back section to the center of the head and clipping away anything that I'm not playing with. So again, I'm going to start braiding from the top of my section, working my way down, paying attention to the tension that I have by asking this question. Is the braid too tight? And that's when you know you're on track with making this a pleasurable experience when you have completed this technique. Now that I've braided down a bit, I have the ability to connect my braid from the left side into my right braid. So what I'm going to do is bring the end of the braid and place it in the parting area, connect it into the center of my braid, and continue braiding down. And that's how I get my horseshoe flat foundation of braids to get a seamless sewing extension result. So as you're braiding down, you're seeing the end of your previous braid connected into your current braid, but there's no bump, no lump. It's nice and flat. I'm going to continue doing this until I get to a point where I can no longer connect the braid. Once I've gotten to a point where I cannot add hair with ease, I just start to braid down just like so. So I have one more braid left, and I'm just going to braid it down so that I can tuck the hair and mold it to the head. So now you can see underneath we have a flat foundation. And before I sew the hair down, I'm going to nourish the scalp with some lavender mint nourishing oil. So in between the parts, I'm just going to put a dab of nourishing oil. This gives the scalp an opportunity to be nourished underneath the net and the extensions. And with my fingers, I'm just going to smooth that oil onto the scalp. Now that we've completed the scalp care, we're going to tuck the braids. Amber's braids are pretty long, so I'm going to lay them nice and flat, and with a needle and thread, I'm going to start sewing the braids down and around. With the remainder of the braids, on the right side, I'm going to tuck it to the right and sew it down. And with the ends of the braid, I'm just going to bring it back towards myself and sew it down. I'm being mindful of my tension. As I'm sewing, I just want to secure it. It doesn't need to be tight. Now that I've tucked all the hair to the right, I'm going to repeat the same thing on the left-hand side. So with the remaining braids, I'm going to tuck it to the left side and sew it down, just like so. Bringing the tail end back down. With the ends, I'm just going to make a knot with my needle. And I'm gonna cut and leave about 1 inch so when it's time for a takedown, she can identify where to cut her thread. Using a net, I'm going to cover the braids and have my guests participate in this part of the service. The reason why is to protect the hair and to be able to lay my rows of extension how I need to. I'm going to start by sewing the net on from one ear on my initial braid. And I'm just going to put my needle through the center of the thread so that it can lock in just like so. And I'm going to work my way up. Again, I just want to secure the net. I have to be careful with my tension because I'm also going to sew extension rows on top of the net. I want to ask my guests from time to time, is this perfect tension? And once I get to the top area, in the crown area, I am going to sew around the leave out. And when I'm sewing around the leave out, I'm going to be even more gentle because I don't want too much tension on the start of each braid. So again, I'm just securing the net, but not too much tension at all. And I'm gonna work my way around until I get to the other side. Once I've gotten to the other side by her ear, I have a lot of net left. In order for me to smooth the net out, I'm going to add another needle, Again, I'm going to secure it by pulling it through itself, and I'm just going to tie a knot to connect the needles. Using my new needle, I'm just going to fold the net down and continue to sew. As I continue to go, I'm folding the net down. Again, I'm folding until I have completely sewn the net down. Once I've completed my net application, I'm going to cut the excess net away. Using my finger, I'm going to judge where I can start cutting. And I want to be careful not to cut any thread, but just the net. I'm using my finger as my guide to make sure that it's the net and the net alone that is being removed. I'm going to leave the excess net over the leave out until I get to my second to last row, and then I'll cut out this portion of the net. Now that we've set our strong foundation, I'm going to lay and sew the rows of extension on. Starting in the upper crown area, I'm going to take my needle and thread, and I'm going to sew it going with the round of the hair so that the hair will fall like natural hair. My sewing technique is a simple loop, and I'm making sure that I loop my needle close to each other, securing the extensions, using a little bit more tension now as I work on this row. I'm using a looping method where I am sewing the hair onto the foundation in a looping method, working my way down and around. And as you can already see, the way these extensions are going to fall will be like natural hair being worn down. Having this net is a great idea because one, it protects the hair, whether the guest is a little rough. There are two reasons why I use a net. Number one, it protects the hair, making this a protective style. Also, it gives me an opportunity to lay my extensions in any pattern or direction that I need in order to create the style that the guest is looking for. If the guest may have issues with alopecia, this net foundation also allows you to sew in the hair without having any bald spots create a challenge. Using a simple looping method, I'm looping my needle and thread around the extensions, working with the round of the head. I pre-measured the extensions to make sure that it would go from one side to the other. Once I've gotten to a point when I'm running out of thread, I'm going to take another needle and thread and I'm going to loop it where I stopped. I'm going to lock my needle in by passing it through the two threads. And I'm going to simply tie the two together to create continuity. Before moving into my next row, I want to cut off my excess thread and needle. And as you can see, the extensions will fall like natural hair foliage. For my second row, I'm going to place it in the same manner, but about 1 inch lower than the first row. And again, I'm using a simple looping method to secure these extensions to my net. Now that I've completed my first 2 rows, you can see how the extensions will fall naturally, the same way her hair is growing out of her head. At this point, I'm going to work my extensions across the head to create fullness in the back. A quick pro tip is taking my needle. If I have extra thread, I can just take my needle and push it in the net and bring it all the way down to where I will now need to work going across. So placing my extensions going across. Again, I'm going to start, continuing in my looping manner, and work my way across. Before placing my last row, I'm going to cut my net. Again, I'm using my finger as a barrier to make sure that I don't cut any hair. Another pro tip is to lift the net and cut all the excess. Now I'm going to show you how I place my last row. I'm going to lay it on top of that netted portion, and using my thread from the previous row, I am going to sew it in my loop pattern. And again, measuring, making sure that my tension is not too much. Securing the extensions is all that I need to do. I want to lay the last row as close to the hairline so that when I lay her natural hair above the extensions, it will be a seamless blend. And now you see, we have a seamless finish. So we're gonna blend her leaf out with the extensions. First thing I wanna do is put my Mirror Protect for heat protection. Next, I'm going to go in with my Alpui Styling Treatment Oil, just a dime size. And I'm going to layer it into the hair to give the hair some nice nourishment. And last, using the same amount of Super Skinny Serum, I'm going to put it into the hair for humidity protection. Taking a small portion of her hair and clipping the rest away. With my smoothing iron, I'm going to clean your head, hit the base once, and using my comb, I'm going to follow through until the hair completely comes out. Again, I'm taking a small section, and with my smoothing iron, I'm going to come up the top and slowly go down the hair strand with one pass. Do you see how beautiful the hair blends in? You see the shine and continuity from the base of her hair to the ends of the extensions. So I know you learned a lot of new information. Tell me in the comments, what did you love about this video? If you loved it, please like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel.